Hi, I'm Toby, and your name is?
Adam.
I was going to introduce you, but there you
I
are.
jumped in.
We're standing in some beautiful vineyards, as you can see. You may have gathered by now that we're going to do some cooking. I'm going to make a risotto today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the wine in a minute, because I want to get this going very quickly. Risotto is a slow cooking dish. So to start with, I'm going to get a little bit of olive oil into here, and we're going to be making risotto bianco, so like a white risotto, very, very simple. And I've got my pan over a low heat here. We're going to start by sauteing this onion, and I want to cook that until it's translucent, so no color in there, and cook it right out so it's really soft. Now that I've got that in the pan, how you going?
I'm good.
What have you got there?
Good. I've got a couple of wines from the Orange region in New South Wales. One white, which I think you're going to need in your risotto.
Yep.
So feel free. Got a little Chardonnay from Orange.
Yep.
Cool climate, high altitude region. So Chardonnay thrives in that particular climate.
Yep.
And because you've got truffle and because your background in the kitchen's very heavily influenced by Italy, this dish is a classic Italian dish.
Yep.
I've got a blend of 3 Italian varieties, Barbero, Sagrantino, Sangiovese, which kind of gives you an idea on the undercurrent of what's happening in Orange at the moment. There's a fair bit of experimentation going on.
I've never heard of that blend or even a couple of those varieties before. How wine selectors do you come across all that stuff? I mean, you guys are deep dive investigating, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you like that?
I did like that. Our passion, Toby, is dealing directly with these producers.
Yep.
So we like to think of ourselves as being at the coalface.
Yep.
And getting the news, the information, the trends, everything that's happening directly from the wine grower, the winemaker, the family business owner.
Yep.
And that's how we can unearth these styles of wine, these small boutique family-owned producers,
Yep.
and then bring them direct to your door as well.
So let's have a chat about the risotto very quickly. So I got started straight away with a pan over a very gentle heat. Bit of olive oil in and some finely chopped onion. I sauteed that till it was soft and translucent. So with risotto, it's really important that the onion or the sofrito, sometimes it's got celery, is a flavoring component. We don't want to have a textural component. So it's really important the onion is soft.
Okay.
At that stage, I turned the heat up just a little bit and I added the rice in. This part I'm doing now is called actually toasting the risotto. What we're doing here is almost trying to crack the outer shell of the rice to release the starch from in there.
Okay.
And that's what gives you a beautifully bound or creamy risotto. Not loads of butter and Parmesan cheese, although a lot of chefs do that. Now, I need some white wine to put into here. So
Help
this
yourself,
is,
sir.
thank you, this is where the liquids start. So we're gonna go in with a white wine. Is this what we're actually drinking?
It is.
I love this. So we get this flavor follow through the whole way through.
Absolutely.
So you want to keep stirring that now and almost reduce that the whole way through. And once that has almost evaporated, which it has, we can start adding the stock in. So I've got some chicken stock here. You could use vegetable stock if you wanted to. And I'm going to add that in only as the rice is asking for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
2 different schools of thought with making risotto, but I like adding it just a little bit. And we keep stirring the whole way through.
So it's a real labour of love, this dish, isn't it?
Definitely labour. It's not one of those dishes you can, do you like that? It's not one of those dishes you can...
like that.
Yeah, I'll chuck it on the stove and be back in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
No, you've got to stand there. And this is why I think it's one of those dishes where it's easy, well, it's quite difficult to get it in a very good state.
Absolutely.
We'll try and make it good today.
What I've tried to do with this Chardonnay is obviously you're talking about bringing the starch out in this rice, so you're creating a texture that's creamy.
Yep.
And to me, one of the best things about Chardonnay is it's a white variety that has creamy texture.
Yep.
And I don't think in Australian wine, perhaps in the past, we've talked enough about texture. You guys in the kitchen have led the way. You've talked about how the dish feels in your mouth. what effect it leaves. But I don't think in wine we've really talked about that enough up until now. And I'm really starting to think texture's becoming something important, which I think is really exciting.
But surely people like yourself and wine selectors play a huge role in that, in opening people's minds up to different varieties. And you guys, I know, do tasting notes with the wines, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so people are reading that and getting educated as they go along. Much like back in the day when you went to a restaurant, you order, I'll have the Parma. Parma comes out and gets put down. Now, this chicken comes from here and the ham's made from here, you're getting an education. People like that story.
Exactly,
and I
right.
think, it gives a romantic note to what you're doing.
It does.
Or what you're
Certainly
drinking
does.
in this case. So, I cooked the rice. Took about 15 minutes to cook, and as I said, I was going ladle at a time. And then I put our butter in there, Parmesan cheese, which you had to shield me with because it was a little bit windy. And I went in with that beautiful truffle oil. In this case, I just used a very small amount. Now, the inside secret to making awesome risotto is once you got the butter and the cheese and all that jazz in there, not cheese if you're doing seafood risotto, please don't do that or we can't be friends, is put 1 ladle of really hot stock at the end, fold it through and pop a lid on for about 2 minutes. And as you can see, that steam sort of causes the rice to really swell up. And all this is beautifully bound now. Now I just had a taste, salt level's right. Shall we get this on the plate?
Let's do it.
Now, while I'm doing this, talk to me about the more important part of this, the wine. What are we drinking here?
Well, while you were slaving away, stirring and ladling for 15 minutes, I poured us a red wine.
Yeah.
As I said before, you've got truffle as a hero ingredient in this dish.
Yes.
Which as soon as you've added that's given it aromatic power, and I'm sure you'll get that flavour, intensity and complexity.
Yeah.
So, red wine, Italian varieties, Italian infused dish, I thought goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And this just gives an insight into what's happening and exciting in orange at the moment. These varieties, maybe not household names to everybody, but they give an insight into perhaps what the future holds for orange as a wine growing region and Australia as well. And this stuff is what we're really excited about at Wine Selectors, because we want all of our wine lovers to go on a bit of a journey of discovery. And these things are the pillar of that discovery for us. So.
I think it's brilliant that you can come onto Wine Selectors and try new varieties and get involved. Open your mind.
Exactly.
There we have it. Now I finished that with a little bit of prosciutto, which is going to give a lovely saltiness to this. This is locally made prosciutto as well. Do you want to have a taste?
Yes.
Now I always make the rice quite al dente, so to some it may be undercooked, but I enjoy it like that. It's got a little bit of a crunch to it. By the time that was to be eaten by the crew, the customers, whoever, it's going to be absolutely perfect.
That's magic. Thank
Thanks,
you very
man.
much, Toby.